who aren't here today, which is very few of you, I guess. Just about all of you are here. Okay, so I just want to kind of recap real quick what we've been doing and what we are doing with it. So let me grab some of my diagrams that we were talking about here. Unfortunately, it's on stupid photo bucket, but so we're diagramming the essence of what we're going to put on this building, right? So this one I explained before was diagramming the movements in a kung fu sequence, and this one was using algorithms to create space within, kind of like a ribbon system, right? So we're looking at how do we boil down the essence of something to either, like an algorithmic design system, which is what you're doing, Bador, in the back, or we could do more of a pictorial system, which is what Tom and you guys are doing back there. So, and I think pretty much the latter is what most of us are doing. So I think only a couple of us wound up with the algorithmic system. So anyway, let's keep looking at this. So keep it simple. I want you guys to kind of look at what it means to look at point, line, and plane and just simplify every possible essence that you can get in these diagrams. So, I mean, if you could draw it with one line, that's ideal. So start with, can I draw it with one line? Can I draw it with two lines? Can I draw it with a dot and a line, right? Start there, grow from there until you have exactly what's necessary to communicate your idea. So these are some other examples. This is like some notes that I took when I was in school, of course, that those thoughts and words go along with what I was exploring here on the right. So make sure that you're thinking through things right through your previous thoughts. If you're more verbal with how you design and conceptualize, build that narrative. Okay, so the friction that's created in the words that you're thinking of, whatever it is that interests you, is usually brought out a lot more clearly when you think through conflict, right? Like build the narrative of what it is, because just to look at a ball sitting on a table, not dynamic enough. What happens when the ball gets thrown onto the table, right? That's a little more dynamic. Does that make sense? Okay, a little more dynamic. It can get better than that. And so, something like this, I think if you think clearly through a problem, you can get to something that's a rather elegant solution. So just to recap, I think you were all in the room at the time, but for anybody who's not here, this was a design concept that I used a Nina Simone song that I basically took like pitch, tempo, a couple other qualities of the sound and the music, and created an algorithmic system that I used to create arcs and circles, and I created a rule set. And using that rule set, I started to cut it, bend it, fold it, and it became spatial. So that's the idea, is to get to that level of elegance. Okay, so you're starting simple, right? Boiling it down to the essence, and the goal is to get to a level of narrative elegance. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay, and it's purely self-prescribed, so you have full freedom. And I know that that's scary, and sometimes that's what you guys are struggling with, is like, okay, I can literally do anything, so how do I develop a concept? How does someone write a poem, right? Something inspires them. They think of something that sparks a thought, and then they get to writing. So whatever your thought is, you can explore that here. So let's take a look at the assignment itself. It was built off of this platform. You do have the file here. I called it Qbert in honor of the game that it kind of looks like. So you'll see, it's basically exactly what you saw. So, all right, there it is. So in the description, you're seeing that there are 3 tiers of space, and this is the part that I didn't make super clear. The first tier is at the top of this block. So there is no space down here. You will have to create, a way to enter from there. But you're going to start designing your first and second floor levels here. Your second or your third and fourth levels are going to be here. And if you build your fifth will be up here. And if you build a sixth or more, it'll be up there on top of it, right? So There are no square footage requirements. There are no specific requirements to what kind of space you need to build. The objective of this assignment is to clearly communicate your concept throughout the design process. That's it. Okay? There will be some requirements when we get to rendering, like you're going to have to pick a space and you're going to have to model it out and make it, give it some entourage, make it look good. That's for one space. But ultimately what we're going to be doing here is creating three things. We're going to create a full-scale model, a full-scale rendering where we're looking at it from the outside. We're going to create a technical rendering, which is actually going to take the form of an axonometric. So we're going to cut the building along, the fourth line. So we're going to kind of split it and look at like an axonometric section of the thing. And then we're also going to do a detail rendering. So that detail rendering is what I'm referring to, where you're going to have to render it out with some entourage. So you're going to get inside the building, design one corner or nook and cranny of this space, and you're going to make sure that it really communicates the concept. Okay? So don't get hung up on designing things that you won't see. It helps as you're designing this thing to think about where you might represent it in the future, like where my camera angle is going to be. Don't do it too soon, still focus on the design part first exclusively. But once you get some meat to your building and you kind of have like the general overall look down, you don't have to model anything behind it anymore if you're going to put your camera over here. Does that make sense? Yeah. So think smart, because like I said, this one's going to be kind of a challenge because you don't have a lot of time. There's a lot of space you have to model. It's a rather complex design challenge that you have, so you need to strategize when and where to put your efforts into modeling. Okay? I think that's about all the information you need right now. If you're going to go forward into starting to explore this, you can read through the description for more details, but the only thing I want to point out is not to get too hung up on the program stuff. So like this floors 1 to 2 being retail and dining, I have some minor requirements for that. Like it's saying it should provide expansive views and easy access from platform 1 and platform 2. So this is platform 1 down the bottom. Platform 2, the second one. Right there, platform 1, platform 2. So you're going to place floors 1 and 2 on platform 2, and you have to provide access from platform 1. I don't think I wrote that in there. I might have to republish this, but anyway, that's the idea. Let's see. Yeah, that's all I've got for now, I think, unless you have questions. Okay, now for this weekend, we've got like 20 minutes left in class. I know you guys are probably all like concepted out at this point, so you might want to put it down for a little bit, because I think most of you are probably mentally exhausted, I would assume, because this is totally brand new. It's probably freaking you out a little bit. So put it down. I'd say don't jump into this and start modeling until you've had like a day or two to kind of let all this concept stuff sit, and then get back into sketching. And I think you'll find that like once you revisit it, it'll be a lot easier. It'll feel a lot more natural once you've let the high level, thought sort of like sink in and become a part of you. Okay? What other questions do you have? Yeah. Huh? For Getty. Oh yeah, that's right. I need to give you the assignment for that. Yeah.
So this one we do it as group or individually?
As a group. Yeah, good question. Sorry, I forgot to address that. Yeah, so you guys are going to be working as a group on this whole thing. So right now we have, this is the end of week 8, and we're actually a week ahead, so we actually have week 9, 10, 11, and 12 to work on this. So it's a good amount of time. You've got 2 of you working on it. Depending on how much progress is being made at the end of next week, I might prescribe some more technical renderings, but they're not going to be like full detail or anything like that. It's going to be very specialty in its delivery. So, yeah, outside of that, yeah, so you guys are going to have to probably strategize who's working on what and when. So what that means, actually, this is a really good point. Your design concept, it might behoove you to find a design concept that has two distinct qualities. Not that you have to, but it would be easier for, say, someone to work on a structural system on one file while another person is working on skin systems in another file and making it modular or something like that. So just something to think about and ponder. Okay? Any other questions? All right. Cool. I guess we'll meet again on Tuesday.